Hi, it's KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guest is Steve Shanley, director of the Municipal Band, back for the penultimate week of concerts.
Eighth week. Thank you
Eight.
for using penultimate correctly.
Well, now I am chastising myself because last week I missed the chance to say anti-penultimate. Which is
I learned something new today.
Second to the last. So
yes,
I'll have to
learned something new with Wordle last week with stupid Pshaw. Sorry for anyone who has not done last week's
Spoilers
Wordle yet,
for a recent Wordle.
And now this week learning anti-penultimate. So I'll have to figure out a way to work that one in.
So what's going on for week 8?
Great week ahead. One of my favorite Disney films recently was The Princess and the Frog. Just loved the music that Randy Newman did for that. And, you know, my wife had been suggesting for years, like, why don't we have a band arrangement of something from Princess and the Frog? And it doesn't exist for whatever reason. Hal Leonard or all the people who owned the rights to that didn't think it was going to be worth it. But I did finally find an arrangement by someone in Europe, and it was pretty expensive, but it's a really excellent arrangement. And as I go through the crowd and I ask, what are some of your favorite songs, some of your favorite Disney movies of the kids and families? Everybody loves Princess and the Frog music. So I thought, all right, this will be worth the investment. And it's got all the hits from the film and features lots of cool soloistic moments for the band. So that's what I'm most excited about this week.
I always kind of think of that as kind of an under-the-radar Disney movie.
Agreed.
One that doesn't really get the notoriety that it deserves. So I'm excited that as you talk to people, they say it's one of their favorites.
Yeah. And I wonder, maybe it's one of those things where lots of people know the music really well, but just maybe didn't watch the film a whole bunch of times. And maybe they're listening to the hits on Spotify. But yeah, as we've talked about before, Randy Newman is just one of those guys. Speaking of kind of flying under the radar, the guy who can write a pop song, but then also do all the film underscore, and he's writing his own lyrics. And I was telling, I think it was maybe after we watched Toy Story, my family watched Toy Story a couple of weeks ago, and we hadn't seen it in a long time. And I'm just thinking about all of those great songs that Newman wrote, but then also the clever underscoring. And he wrote the words, and I said, all right, unpopular opinion. Alan Menken needed a lyricist to help him out. He wasn't doing the underscore for any of that stuff. He would get someone hand him some great lyrics, and he just had to come up with a melody and chords. Randy Newman's doing all of it. So maybe, is he the best Disney animated film composer overall? So maybe I'll throw down there. I know if my friend Rob Nassif is listening, he would not mind me saying that I think Randy Newman is better than Alan Menken. So
Randy Newman is a hugely underrated talent.
Yeah.
For people of my generation, he's known primarily
Short People,
as the guy who wrote Short People,
I Love
which
LA,
which people took offense with, completely missing the satirical point of the song. But then for another generation, then he got into doing movie music, as you said, and then did it all. Didn't just write a pop song to go with the movie, but did all of the movie music as well.
And he could do it in whatever style it needed to be done, just sort of a chameleon in that regard. So excited about that. And then someone who I think probably gets enough recognition and accolades for film composing, John Williams. Have you heard of him?
I have heard of him. Well, I remember when he was a piano player for Henry Mancini's orchestra. That's really where he did his best work.
And then he had sort of a second career that a lot of people don't know about with film composing. But the medley that we're playing this week, it's entitled John Williams Swings. And
as much as I love John Williams, when you think of swinging jazz, not necessarily
don't
what
really
you think
of that. He didn't do a ton of it, but was really pretty good at it. And as he was good at whatever he wanted to be good at writing. And so obviously we had the Cantina Band from Star Wars, which is probably his most well-known swing. And then Catch Me If You Can had a bunch of swing and jazz influence in it, which was pretty great. And then, which I will admit I did not know until I bought the medley, he wrote something entitled Swing, 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 and that is from the movie 1941, which I have never seen. Have you had the pleasure of...
I saw that movie when it first came out because Steven Spielberg, and it was John Belushi's I think it was his follow-up to Animal House, maybe.
Okay.
So right when he was a thing.
Okay.
Huge thing. And I believe
Was
it was
a comedy?
Yes, it was
Okay.
it was a comedy about there were fears in the early part of World War II that the Japanese were going to attack California.
Right. Yep.
And this is the untold story of when it actually happened. And
Okay.
my recollection, now bear in mind it was years ago, but my recollection, it's the kind of the bumbling success of an early edition of the Air Force that repelled the invasion kind of by accident.
So Steven Spielberg, we got John Belushi in his prime, satire, and John Williams writing the music. So this must have been pretty good.
It is widely regarded as Steven Spielberg's worst film.
So not good. So I do not need to carve out some time before the concert to make sure.
Yeah, probably not.
Okay, well, that's good.
I don't think anybody's going to be shouting lines from the film out while you're performing.
Well, the medley's pretty cool. The music is great, obviously, as well. So, and then one of my favorite sort of themes of every year is we have the Young Artist Competition in the spring, and we give out the Margaret Cagle Memorial Scholarship for that. And then we also have a couple of students who maybe placed runner-up to perform, and we've got one of those runner-up students this week, Marley Funk, who is going to be a senior at Linn-Mar High School, is going to play with us on flute as well.
Oh, nice.
And that's one of those things I always pretty much to a student after they get done and they leave the room, I say to the band, there is no chance I could have done any of that when I was that kid's age. Like, I'm just so impressed at the not only the talent, but just the hard work and the drive, the dedication that so many students in our area have to come in and try something really difficult like that.
And the professionalism.
Yes.
I mean, when they come in, I've seen a couple. I saw Ewan, here a couple of weeks ago. And I am always, just so pleased and thrilled. Not surprised, but pleased and thrilled. Just, they take the stage just like they're in the band.
Yes.
And do their thing. And if you had not been told they were a featured young artist, you would have just thought that they were a regular member of the band.
Yep. And a special shout out to Marley, who is excellent with her email communication as well. So talk about a true professional in terms of how she plays, handles herself in the audition.
Not always a thing with Gen Z.
Not always a thing also with musicians in general, not being real great about their emails. So yeah, Marley's gonna get a lot of gigs going forward.
So we've got Marley as a guest artist.
Marley is our guest artist.
Anything else you want to mention?
We've got, this is kind of for the band geeks out there, but my publishing company, CL Barnhouse, that publishes most of my educational work, they happen to be located in Oskaloosa, Iowa. And I think they're the largest band publisher in the world, and they happen to be located right here, which is pretty cool. And the namesake for C.L. Barnhouse, he was a composer as well. And a couple of months ago, I was just kind of scrolling through the website, and I found this march that he had written. And I asked Andy Glover about it, and Andy is the current president of Barnhouse, and he said he was a great businessman. He was not a great composer of marches. and I listened to it, and I was like, yeah, not John Philip Sousa, and really kind of difficult as well, but the Cedar Rapids Municipal Band can handle it, and it's a part of Iowa history. And I have, between you and me, Dennis, I've certainly programmed less substantial music for the band in the past. So we're going to play, as far as I can tell, the debut performance of a piece performed by the Cedar Rapids Municipal Band, written by C.L. Barnhouse, called Idaho March. Not sure why it's called Idaho March, but yeah, it's kind of cool. It's going to keep the band on their toes. So that's kind of a special little thing this week for the band nerds out there. We're playing some Irish reel music, some dance music as well. And then we're closing with a march that Henry Fillmore, who is listed up there with John Philip Sousa, wrote for Carl King, that he called King Carl King.
The legendary Iowa bandmaster.
Yeah, we claim him. He lived here. He wasn't born here, but he moved here, set up shop at Fort Dodge, had his publishing company there, ran the municipal band there forever. In fact, it's called the Carl King Municipal Band now. They named it that after he left. And then, yes, but very highly regarded, not only in Iowa, but among all of the composers and bandmasters that we've had, including the great Henry Fillmore, thought King Carl King deserved his own march.
Only a few more chances left to see the Municipal Band, twice this week and twice next week. Wednesday at Kingston Yard.
Wednesday at Kingston Yard and on Sunday at Ellis.
All right, excellent. Yeah. And again, people can visit crmuniband.org or find you on Facebook if they'd like to find out more about the concerts. Oh, and we mentioned it periodically, but you have switched your live stream and you're doing that from your YouTube channel
From YouTube now, yes. So I think there's instructions or a link on Facebook for how to get to that. Rob Klein does a great job usually of making that pretty easy to find. And yeah, we're getting good viewers on that YouTube. So check us out.
So find them on YouTube and like and subscribe.
Like and
as
subscribe,
we say.
Yes.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you next week for one more round. Thanks.
Yep. Thanks.
You can hear the Culture Crawl live on the radio most weekdays at 10:30, on demand at kcck.org/culture, or subscribe using your favorite podcast player. Watch our videos on the KCCK Facebook and YouTube channels. Our producer is Lydia Kilgore. The Culture Crawl theme is composed by Vivian Shanley. I'm Dennis Green, and I'll talk to you later.